Hi guys, it's Mary the nurse practitioner, and today I'm going to talk about very simple ways that we can actually sabotage our thyroid health without even knowing. So please stay tuned. And I know that we don't like to think about how our own involvement or daily activities and exposures can lead to our health issues, but we have to talk about it. So many individuals are suffering with thyroid disease, and I don't think that we have enough people showing up to help other people truly understand where these causes can be rooted in. So, if you're out there and listening to this and you have a known thyroid issue, let me help you understand possible reasons why. I know not a lot of people realize or understand this because it took me a while to actually figure it out myself, but gluten is not always your friend. Personally speaking, I would eat gluten and then immediately have stomach discomforts or even constipation, but still keep eating it. And it turns out a lot of people are actually sensitive to gluten, and the more you consume it while having that sensitivity to it, the more your gut will suffer. And when you eat gluten, it can cause inflammation and mucus in your body. And of course, that inflammation can affect your thyroid and the way that it creates hormones and controls your metabolism. So, if you have a thyroid issue and you oftentimes experience certain symptoms after eating a gluten or wheat product like bread or your favorite pastry, my best advice is to cut it out so you can actually reduce that inflammation in your body and maybe even improve your health. So, this is one that always makes me cringe because it's so hard to get other healthcare providers sometimes to understand this, but there are certain medications that can actually affect your thyroid function. I don't think that most providers are intentionally trying to harm a patient with giving the specific medication, but I just don't think that there's enough attention of the side effects of these medications, especially if they're already being widely used in the community. For instance, here's a list of medications that may potentiate hyperthyroidism and those that might potentiate hypothyroidism. And if you're on any of these medications, I'm not saying to stop taking them, please don't. Just be aware that if you find out that you do have abnormal thyroid values, the medication should be considered on the list of possible root causes. And when possible and safe alternative options should be considered. I know this is another topic that's just like, okay, here we go again. But stress is like one of the major factors I feel like for many of the diseases that we see in our community today. But especially for your thyroid health, stress that is uncontrolled is no good. For instance, if your stress hormones like cortisol become too high, this can interfere with how your body converts the thyroid hormone, and then that would affect how much of the hormone is actually available for your body to use. Not to mention, imbalanced stress hormones can even make autoimmune conditions worse. So, if you're that person that's constantly stressed and dealing with a lot, I encourage you to please learn from now how to incorporate relaxation techniques and also add adaptogenic herbs to your regimen so you can avoid long term inflammatory and diseasing side effects later. I speak a lot on gut health, but it is literally the centralized blueprint for our entire body. Think of it like a transit system, and without that main piece of the transit system, you wouldn't know what to do or where to go. And I would say that if you're constantly dealing with gut issues like constipation, diarrhea, or stomach pain, that is your gut's way of telling you that, baby, we have a problem. And oftentimes, when we do have these consistent issues, it's our body reacting in an inflammatory way and letting you know that you may have a condition that we don't know about, like, for instance, leaky gut or even small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or dysbiosis. And the majority of the time, we feel these pains and discomforts, but we are so used to ignoring them because, one, we don't think that there's anything wrong unless there is really something wrong. And two, I don't think our providers give enough attention to try and figure out what's actually happening. But when your gut is dysfunctioning, this is no good because it can affect how your body's actually absorbing the nutrients. And when your body is unable to extract all the proper nutrients from your food and the supplements that you take, we're going to have a problem with nourishing certain cells, tissues, and organs of the body, and the thyroid is one of them. So please don't ignore these symptoms from your gut. Listen to them and try to correct them with a natural method. Believe it or not, we're exposed to toxic metals more often than we realize. They can be found in everyday things like medications, vaccines, those cute ceramic cups and plates, and even that scratched up skillet you're holding on to for too long. Metals like mercury and lead can wreak havoc on our thyroid function. Mercury can be found in certain fish, dental fillings, certain vaccines, and even some cosmetic and skin lightening products. And lead is found in old paint, water pipes, ceramics, potteries, and pots, and that can trigger immune system dysregulation and increase the risk of autoimmune thyroid conditions. So, if you don't take anything else from this video, at least try to be mindful of these toxins in your environment, investing in a water and air filter, replacing old pots and pans, and using glass when possible is a good start. I know organic and clean foods can sometimes feel like it costs an arm and a leg, but personally speaking, it's worth it. Pesticides and synthetic additives have been linked to thyroid disorders and can interfere with the production and regulation of thyroid hormones. And while organic foods may still have some level of pesticides, they usually contain far fewer. So, my best advice, opt for organic produce and prioritize ingredients that are not so hard to pronounce. So, make sure before you cash out, check those labels, and if there are any ingredients within your food items that are hard to pronounce or have way too many syllables, it's probably not the best thing for you to buy. And if you can swing it, choose non-GMO and grass-fed animal products too. And last but not least, inactivity is a major thyroid killer. The reason being is because when we're not being as active or engaged in an activity that creates thermogenesis, that means we're not sweating out the toxins that are already in our body. So granted, we can't avoid every single toxin out there. I mean, literally, we are living in a toxic world. So in that event, we do what we can, but we also must make sure that our body is at least able to get rid of the toxins in a healthy manner. And one of the best ways to do that is to sweat. When you sweat, you are literally eliminating toxins that disrupt your thyroid. And if you're not sweating daily, toxins are ganging up on your cells and organs and beating them up until they are black, blue, and swollen. So make sure you find activities that get you moving and make you break a sweat. So that about wraps it up. And remember, these are just general tips and information. If you suspect that you have thyroid issues or disease or any health concerns at all, it's always best to consult with your trusted professional. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more awesome content. Take care of your thyroid and catch you in the next video.